All right, church number 2. My goodness, I have a ton of chin hair. We're just gonna, whatever. Atlanta. Let's just go to a different angle. Church number 2. It was at Gales Creek in Gales Creek, Oregon, which is close to like Forest Grove-ish. It was a community church. I really liked it. I walked in I was walking in towards the building and heard a couple kittens. They were like meowing like crazy, and it was just super cute. And so I saw one and I picked it up because this cat must have been like, I don't know, not even like 10, 12 weeks old. It was super, super tiny. And this guy comes walking out and he goes, I'm here to like grab them to feed them, which is really cute. He goes, they're the church cats. And I go, oh, that's really sweet. And so I walk in and the like usher person was super nice, really welcoming. And there was probably maybe 30 people, maybe 20, 25-ish. It was a very small congregation. The preacher or pastor was also a lady. So again, kind of surprising for these small congregations to have a lady preacher pastor. But she spoke on, I believe it's Luke chapter 16, about, what was it, like Lazarus, the man who is, not Lazarus that Jesus wept for, but Lazarus, the beggar who he had died, and he was like in this chasm, and he was reaching out for his like friends, and he wanted to know about like the friends of like, I want them to be saved, and I want them to be okay, and I want them to be like, send them a miracle, like raise a miracle, Jesus. And the person said, like, even if I were to send them, like, they're not going to believe in a miracle. And they said, like, they have the prophets and they have Moses and they have the Bible, like, and they're still not believing, like, raising somebody from the dead is not going to help them at all. And it was just a really good, like, reminder of, like, we see miracles all the time and still people don't believe. And it's hard for me too, because, like, every day is a miracle. You look around and you just start thinking of like little things that are miraculous, like blade of grass and what goes into a field of grass growing, or your dog, or your eyeballs, or your like veins and your intestines and everything like that, like very small things that we don't even think about because we don't really focus on them, but they are miracles. And it was just really good. And then another thing I really liked about this preacher or pastor is they asked for announcements. The guy asked for announcements, prayer requests, whatever. They did them. And then afterwards, the pastor walked around and she said, this person needs prayer. And so she walked around and she prayed for them, and she goes, if anyone wants to come over and lay hands on them, like, let's do it together. We want to pray for this congregation. And so she walked around and she prayed for one person, and then she prayed for another, and she probably prayed for like 10 different people after the announcements and prayer requests. And it was just really interesting. And she knew all of these people. She knew her congregation again. And she had like that pulse point that I've said before of like, she knew what they thought and what they were struggling with, and really kept an eye on things. And it was really cool to listen to that. And one of the ladies behind me said, oh, pastor's on a prayer walk today. And it was just really cool because it was like, people should be prayed over, you know, like they talk about it in the Bible, like laying holy hands on people and praying over people. And she really lived that out, which was really cool to see. And then during the service, she asked a couple questions like, what is your worth? And what do your friends think you're worth? Or what is your family worth? And she said, like, talk to your neighbor about it. Well, I was new and I didn't have a really neighbor because I sat in my own pew. And so she came up and she spoke to me, and she said, she introduced herself, and really nice lady. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name. Really sweet lady though. And she said, like, after the introduction, she goes, what do you think you're worth, Tess? And I was like, whoa, that's a really deep question to ask someone after first meeting them. And I was like, I don't know. I said, I don't, like, I don't really know. Like, it's hard to put worth on myself. And she said, okay. And one of the questions was, if somebody owed you a debt, would you want them to pay part of it, or would you forgive it? And I said, selfishly, I know in my heart, like, I would want it paid. I would want somebody to give me my money back. And I said, I want to be able to say that I could forgive it completely, because I said, I've been forgiven a lot of debt. And I said, and I want somebody to feel that freedom and somebody to feel that blessing. I said, but my selfish heart wants the money back, wants what I think I deserve. And so it was really good, like, to reflect on my own heart of like, ooh, that's some yucky grossness in my heart that I need to get rid of, and like forgive people of debts, not even financial debts, of like just forgiveness and different things that I think people owe me, because it's me. And it was kind of a good reflection. Got done with the service, and everyone was just super nice and lovely, and it made me feel very welcomed, and the congregation was just amazing. I felt just very at home kind of feeling. Made me miss church even more, of like, okay, this is, keep searching for your church, keep searching for what you believe in. Yeah, it was just an interesting time and great service. Gail's church, community church, was really great to me, so I definitely would recommend checking them out. And yeah, that's kind of week 2. So that was fun. So hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful night.